Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in today. And on today, it's technically Sunday, but I want to start Mental Health Mondays. So by the time you see this video, it will be Monday. So my sister LaToya is here. She's a
went to school for psychology and a certified life coach.
Okay, so she's a certified life coach and she's went to school for this. I can't talk too much on it. I can just give my point of view as to what I went through in my life. So we're coming on today. And today is, every Monday is going to be
Mental Health Monday.
Okay, so we're going to just jump right into it. So the topic we're going to do a little talking about today is going to be family secrets and trauma. So Toya, I'll let you take over from there.
Well, I'm going to start by asking you, what made you want to talk about family secrets and trauma? Is there something that you saw that made you go, oh my gosh, I really want to know more about it, or experience, or what brought that today?
I think for me, the piece would be is the part that there's so many people out there that have had trauma in their life, and they were told to like push it down and not say anything about it. And so as I'm on different forums, looking at different people, I see how a lot of the younger people are reaching out and saying what has happened to them in their life, the trauma that they have went through being abused. Right. So that's why I wanted to kind of come in and do that piece with you.
Okay. So I'll start by saying that 70% of Americans in the United States have admitted to at least having one traumatic experience. And 6% of those people actually have issues that affect their day-to-day lives. So whether it be a trauma of an abuse or whether it is a any type of trauma, you don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to suffer alone. Mm-hmm. There are options and there are things that you can do to help you to progress in your life, to get, now I don't want to say get past those traumas, but to better deal with the traumas. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will say they may deal in their day-to-day life with things like depression and anxiety. PTSD is one of the more common effects of trauma, and that could be, again, one trauma experience, multiple trauma experiences over time. And I love that you brought this out, because people do have these traumatic experiences and don't often know what to do. Right. I'll say in the Brown community, mm-hmm. that oftentimes we're not directed to therapy. Right. As a woman of faith, I do believe in going to God and taking things to Him in prayer, but I also advocate that if things are affecting your day-to-day life, that it is not a bad thing to go and see a therapist. A therapist will give you tools to be able to progress through those traumatic experiences. So go ahead, if you have some questions that you want to ask. I don't want to take a...
So, no, it's not that. I just, because you see so many people that are committing suicide, and they just don't know how to respond to what's happening to them. Mm-hmm. Just like I shared with you, the young lady who was in the store that day. Mm-hmm. She was just having like a breakdown. Mm-hmm. She had the child with her, and she was like taking it out on the child. I felt like she didn't have, she didn't think that no one would care. Right. So in the piece of sharing and caring, and trying to talk to, sometimes I feel like if we can just smile, it can make someone's day. Or if we are gentle enough to speak to them in a certain tone. Because I don't say jump into everybody and say, okay, if a person allows you to come to them and speak to them. So sometimes we're guided, I think, by God to speak to people at certain times. So that was my thing, the trauma part. I just want to know, because we all have trauma. I want to say, don't say everybody has some type of trauma in their life. And as growing up as kids, I saw a lot of different things happen in my life. And then the piece for me was when we see our parents go through something, and we feel like, as a woman, for me, seeing some of the things, and I'm not saying bad, all the things were bad, but some of the things in my life that my mom went through makes me want to reach out. Right. Because some of the things she went through, as I began to look for a spouse, mm-hmm. and go through things, I thought it was okay. Right. And I accepted a lot of things because I thought that's what you needed to do in order to be in a marriage, mm-hmm. and go through, excuse me. So I didn't know. I thought it was okay for you to occasionally get hit or go through some issues. I didn't know how to deal with my issues.
Right.
So that's the thing I, wanted to bring out with women. You know what I mean?
Some of the first traumas that we do usually experience, I understand, can be in the home.
Right.
So I think that's a whole nother perspective. Is when you see things in a home at the time, you don't realize that it is anything different, because you're in your home, you're in your community, and you don't see. You might see that in your home,
right,
and you might see it in your neighbor's home, because that's your perspective.
Right.
So, you see that, you think that it is normal. And then you go out into the world, you start to interact, you get your job, you go to college, you go to school, and you realize, oh, wow, this isn't happening in everybody's home.
Right.
And then how do you take that information, process it, and move forward in relationships in a positive manner?
Right.
So I can also say, because we're sisters, that our perspectives of what we saw in relationships was also different. So you may have different stressors, which can be different, which is different than trauma than I had.
Right.
So what you saw at your age, because there's 17 years difference between us, was not what I saw at my age. But there's no difference in value.
Right.
We do share some of the same things that when we, got into relationships,
right,
that we went, oh my gosh, it's not supposed to be this way.
Right.
And who didn't tell us and why?
Yeah.
And who should we tell so that they don't do the same thing?
Right.
Because those traumas that you can experience can change your entire perspective, what life looks like for you. You've got a lot of young women who suffer from depression. They suffer from anxiety. They suffer from PTSD. And they, rather than get help, ask for help, they self-medicate. And so for me, I'm always cognitive of when I see a person who has an addiction, whether it be substance addiction, drugs, drinking. I try not to judge that, because you don't know what brought them to that position. And a lot of people do self-medicate rather than going and seeing someone and doing talk therapy, or rather than going and getting cognitive behavior therapy, which is in addition to talking to someone, you're also given skill so that you can work toward how you deal with the everyday, and I think that's a good thing altogether. Even if you don't have trauma, you don't have stressors, and I don't know who lives who doesn't have stressors. If you wake up in the morning and you put your feet on the floor, you probably are going to have some sort of stress. So even if you don't have trauma, I think that it is a wonderful thing to always have someone that you can talk to, whether it be a family member. Sometimes it's best that it's not a family member, because there are things that you might not want to 100% share, and there are things that you need to not just have somebody to express it to, but also learn how to move forward from.
So as we talk about that, probably on our next session, because we're not going to keep it really long, and we're just going to continue to discuss that part, because for me, being through the abuse that I went through, which I've shared with everyone, I've been physically abused, mentally abused, and I was emotionally abused. So I've had the whole piece. So that's why I'm trying to see how we can get help and talk to someone about that. And the next time we come together, we're going to touch on the part about how getting out of the relationship, because a lot of us want to stay in that relationship, because when you really look at the relationship, sometimes you're trying to figure out how you're going to get out of it, but you don't know how you're going to get out of it. And if you don't talk to someone or get help, because with me, when I was in Harrisburg, I had a lady come up to me and was like, you don't have to take that. But I didn't understand that. I just thought, okay, I'm here. I didn't have any family left, because my mom had left and went back home, and I was there stuck, and I was like, oh my gosh. But what I went through, I don't hide. I was abused the whole time I carried my 30-year-old daughter, and I dealt with that, and then I got out of it, and got married again, and went through abuse again. So that's the thing, and I'm no longer in those relationships. I thank God I had the mindset to know how to let go and move on from that. And so that's why I want to do like Mental Health Mondays, so we can talk to different people who are out there who are going through something that might need to hear this. So that's why I thought the mental health portion is so very important to us. And I just want to thank my little sister LaToya for coming over, doing this video with me, and she will be coming in on a regular basis and talking to us. She'll have more questions, and we'll have more questions, but we want to keep it kind of short so you guys will be able to watch the whole video.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Because we are speaking about mental health. I just want to say this is not a sponsored video, but
Right.
if you're watching and you need someone to talk to right now, you can go to Teledoc, you can go to Sesame, you can go to BetterHelp, and connect with someone via app, or via the internet, and start getting some assistance right now.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for saying that, LaToya. And we're going to round this up right now. And I just want to say thank you so much to all my subscribers for subscribing to the channel. I have gotten so many different subscribers recently. Thank you to my old ones. Thank you for my new ones. I thank God for all of you guys. And I make sure that I pray for you on a daily basis. So I just want to say thanks to everyone, and thank you so much, LaToya, and we'll gladly see you on next Monday. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to like,
Comment,
share, and hit that notification bell so that you know each time I lift up a video. Thanks everyone, and have a blessed day. Bye bye.